Okay, so one of my guilty pleasures in life is watching cheesy G-rated family films, specifically from the comfort of my couch, where I can be free to eat popcorn, talk out loud, poke fun at the flick, and be generally belligerent without fear of getting tossed outside by theater security. Being something of a filmmaker myself, I enjoy these movies precisely for the reason that most tend to hate them. They are often extremely low budget, they feature low-tier actors with iffy performances of very banal screensplays. In other words, they're like indie films, but better because they don't take themselves too seriously and you can usually get out of them in less than 90 minutes. It's very much like the movie form of community theater. The entertainment doesn't come from the story. The entertainment comes from watching a ragtag team try and put on a production. There are tons of subgenres in the G-rated family film industry, but by far the most popular seems to be dog movies. The plot structure is pretty simple. A broken family adopts a new puppy and learns to heal through the power of love. There are an astounding number of titles that follow this formula, and with good reason. It works. Plus, hey, every dog breed has its own dedicated fan base, thus audience to sell to, so even a micro-budget movie can usually turn a profit. And while the canine catalog is considerable, my buddy Seth introduced me to the cinematic universe of Wiener dogs, which seemingly starts with the masterpiece titled Wiener Dog Nationals, or as it is known outside of the US, Hot Dog Derby, a motion picture thrill ride that is hands down the best 82-minute movie about racing wiener dogs released in 2013. This picture's got everything, baby. Mystery, action, comedy, romance, and no more than 8 on-screen dachshunds. You don't just watch Wiener Dog Nationals, you experience it. Don't worry, I can save you some time. Wiener Dog Nationals, the movie, is, in a sense, one giant commercial for the real-life Wiener Schnitzel Wiener Dog race held every year by the aforementioned fast food company. It would be kind of like if Squarespace made a feature-length film about a website designer. It would exist mostly to push a brand. The story begins by introducing us to the Jack family, 3 kids home for the summer and their recently widowed father. Is that Tom Hanks' kid? The youngest boy, Danny's birthday has arrived, and Daddy Jack struggles with putting on a brave face to keep the family together in the midst of loss and financial woes. Danny stumbles across an old photo of his late mother and discovers that she raced wiener dogs in her childhood. Inspired, Danny asks Papa for a dachshund to carry on his mom's legacy. The dad reluctantly takes the kids to a shelter in the local park, and there they meet Shelly, a runt of the litter.
So disgustingly cute.
Our boy Danny eagerly scoops her up and promises to love her forever and ever and ever. As the family heads out, they're stopped by Morgan Fairchild, aka Miss Merriweather, an absurdly wealthy professional wiener dog racer who takes great interest in Shelly on account of a lightning-shaped birthmark on her back leg. Miss Merriweather offers the family $1,000 to take Shelly off their hands, but the kids ain't having it. They head home, and over the course of the next 3 minutes fall head over heels in love with little Shelly. As the dad heads off to work, the youngest kids sneak out to a Wiener Schnitzel restaurant and register for the state trials of the National Wiener Dog Race. Meanwhile, the oldest son stays home to rock out. Daddy Jack gets stopped on his way into work and is immediately fired by his shake-weight-wielding boss. It's weird. Also, who fires a guy right after his wife dies? He's a single dad with 3 kids. That ain't cool. Dejected, he returns home to find the kids training Shelly for the race, and despite his protests the next morning, the kids sneak out for the event.
Oh, how cute. Oh no. Oh, not all the food on the floor.
After arriving at the park and getting checked in, the kids start mixing it up and meet Handshake. But then...
Aww.
Something wrong?
Are they in love?
That's weird. Maybe he's thirsty.
And they call it puppy love. Miss Merriweather shows up with much pomp and circumstance and is immediately mobbed by reporters. Also, is that a Lincoln Model L? So Miss Merriweather is extremely protective of her personal racing dog, Princess, to the neglect of her own daughter who isn't even allowed to touch the dog. Princess is the reigning national champion and has already qualified for regionals, but Miss Merriweather is such an obsessive dog racer that she attends every heat just to scope out any possible competition, and Shelley has caught her eye. As the runners get set, we are introduced to Judge Brown, played by that guy who was on Mad Men. That's kind of how a lot of these family films are. You're sitting there watching them, and then like a character comes on screen and you're like, oh yeah, that's the guy from the Thing.
Now, the top 3 dogs from each race will advance to the regionals. And so, may the best Wiener win, and the rest roast.
This guy does put on one of the better performances in the movie. Also, I'm pretty sure he brought his own hair, makeup, and lighting crew because he always looks way better in close-ups than anybody else in this movie. So the race gets run and our girl Shelley finishes in 3rd place, qualifying for the next event. The kids are ecstatic, but Daddy's in the dumps because traveling to regionals costs money, and it's money that the family doesn't have. So even though little boy Danny offers to spend all his birthday money on travel expenses, after a heart-to-heart, the dad makes it clear that the trip can't happen. They go to the Wiener Dog Racing headquarters to forfeit their spot, but wouldn't you know it, one sight of the cute event runner Melanie, and Dad's suddenly interested again. The family go to the park to practice with Shelley the day before regionals and are challenged to a sprint against a roided out wiener named Crusher. Daddy Jack feels like he's got something to prove, and he makes Shelley run even though she's clearly not up for it. Crusher gets a head start and wins easily, leaving Shelley injured and the little kids fuming.
She looks hurt. You shouldn't have done this, Daddy.
Sorry.
Tough break, Dad. With Shelley's paw in peril, the fam loads up in the station wagon and goes to who else but cute event runner Melanie for help. Wait a minute, does that business card just have a P.O. box on it? Melanie checks over Shelley's injuries and remarks that her lightning-shaped birthmark bears a striking resemblance to the one found on the fastest wiener dog of all time. That's right, Shelley is a puppy of prophecy. They somehow managed to slip that trope in. Melanie and Papa Jack give each other the googly-eyed treatment, and Shelley gets patched up, but her ability to run in the next day's race is in serious doubt. Meanwhile, Miss Merriweather is parked outside of Melanie's house and snaps a few pics of the 2 lovebirds hugging and then puts together a blackmail package to give to Judge Brown. This woman is ruthless. The family loads up the next morning and heads out to regionals, which means it's time for an awesome road trip montage. Our heroes arrive to find a stiff competition. Crusher is back for more, and Miss Merriweather is prepping Princess and soaking up all the attention.
Honey, I didn't pay $100,000 for personal training sessions for Princess to lose.
This lady is callous to a hilarious degree. Also, did you catch that?
$100,000 for personal training sessions for Princess to lose.
Yeah, there's a random loop there. I have no idea why. I'm guessing that they needed a longer clip, but that was all they had, so the editor just, improvised. So the top 3 finishers get to advance to nationals. Mean Lady Merriweather blabs to the judge that Shelley is injured, and it looks like our little furry friend is knocked out of the race before it even starts. But nobody puts baby in a corner. Shelley chews through her cast, finds her way to the starting block, and before anyone's the wiser, the wieners are off. Princess takes first, Handshake takes second, and Shelley takes third. All 3 will travel to the Wiener Schnitzel Wiener Dog National Championships. The Jack family celebrates by visiting, you guessed it, the local Wiener Schnitzel restaurant. Yay, hot dogs! So Miss Merriweather hands her blackmail package to Judge Brown in an effort to have Shelley eliminated. The oldest son does some sleuthing of his own and discovers that Miss Merriweather's a bit of a cheater herself. As accusations fly, Melanie agrees to resign from her duties at the Wiener Dog races in order for Shelley to still be allowed to compete at nationals. nationals. This, it should be noted, is played very dramatically and acts as the catalyst for Mr. Jack and Melanie to fall in love. Relieved of her duties, Melanie tracks down the former owner of the fastest wiener ever to act as a nationals judge in her stead, while she keeps an eye on Princess to make sure that the race is run fairly. After a few heart-to-hearts, the family boards a plane and flies to the Wiener Dog Nationals, sponsored by Wiener Schnitzel. There's this adorable, nonsensical montage where they arrive to the venue in a stretch limousine, matching outfits, sunglasses, and walk in slow motion to a solid royalty-free hip-hop track. Melanie arrives to the event incognito and disguises herself further to spy on Miss Merriweather by donning a huge hot dog costume. What a loser. The family and Merriweather have a brief run-in to set the tension.
You're mean.
You're annoying.
Hey!
I kinda love this lady. With drama unfolding, the race is set to begin. All the dogs are introduced and we catch sight of Miss Merriweather slipping some kind of device on Princess' stomach. Side note, how do the judges not notice this thing on the dog during the race? It is comically large. So the entire movie, I thought that the secret mystery device on Princess, like, I don't know, shocked her or something and gave her like supercharged racing powers. But no, the final race starts and Miss Merriweather presses the button on the control to reveal that it's just an Altoids box that opens up and spits out dog treats that distract the competition. Keep in mind, Princess is supposedly the reigning champion, so I guess in those previous races, nobody noticed half the competition just stop running and then immediately go over to this huge pile of sausages that just magically appeared on the ground behind her. Whatever, I'm overthinking it, I know. So the final race is a doozy. Princess drops her payload and is instantly out in front. Melanie flags down some officials to point out Miss Merriweather's cheating, and Shelley's paw starts acting up again. It looks like all hope is lost, but suddenly, Handshake sprints off course and delivers a helpful bump to get his girl past the finish line. With Madame Merriweather exposed and Handshake DQ'd, Shelley wins the race and becomes the national champion. Princess finally gets some love, the fam finally shares some hugs, and our story comes to a happy ending. But not before teasing an international sequel.
Internationals, yay!
Which, it turns out, they totally made. So let's talk about the weird stuff, because I promise you there's a lot worth covering. First, the kids. I am not gonna stand here in a stupid costume and rag on kid actors in a G-rated family film. Everybody did their best with the material they were provided. Again, half the fun of these things is just sitting back to enjoy how they choose to execute the fairly basic storyline. Danny's relationship with his father is a recurring plot point. They have tons of late night chats about moving forward without his mom and how to take care of the dog. These are nice, they really are. Performances are good, but my big problem is that Danny wears the exact same weird cowboy jammies in every single one of these scenes. The lighting stays the same, so they like clearly filmed all those scenes at once. Then again, I guess it does kind of work with the story. If I was a single dad who had to take care of 3 kids, making sure that my kid has like different pajama options every night would probably not be on the top of my priorities either. I don't like this window light in particular because they kept forgetting to cover it up during some of the night scenes, and I was like constantly confused as to what the time of day was. The youngest daughter character doesn't really do much beyond signpost emotions for the audience.
Yeah, it's your birthday, yeah, it's your birthday, yay!
She's happy when we need to be happy, sad when we need to be sad, scared when we're supposed to be scared. She screams a lot. The oldest son, he spends an absurd amount of time playing the guitar in this movie. When he's not doing that, he's usually providing help for his siblings when they need a grown-up figure. The character's whole shtick is that he just turned 18 and he thinks he's way too cool for everything going on, but at the end of the day, he still has a heart of gold. The greatest thing is what happens during the credits. I did not see this coming. So at the end of the movie, the credits are scrolling like normal, but then there's like this odd break, and I was like, wow, did they accidentally format the text wrong? Such an amateur editing mistake to make. Oh no, it turns out the kid sings the movie's theme song.
We can make it when push turns into shove, even if we put up a fight. When it will run right past the finish line.
I guess he was doing like the Nickelodeon Disney pop singer actor thing they did back in the day. I watch a lot of these movies and I like wonder sometimes what these performers are up to these days. I looked him up. His name's Austin Anderson. I tell you what, if he can learn the accent, he's a shoo-in for an Orson Welles biopic. I'd watch it. I'd make it. Let's move on to Shelley. I realized pretty quickly that there are a few different Shelleys. Shout out to the stunt dogs. Can I just say, Shelley is the most underutilized character of this entire movie. I mean, it's called Wiener Dog Nationals, but there is a criminally low number of wiener dogs in this movie. Thought they would have leaned into them a bit more for the target audience. This movie would be like 100 times better if it focused way more on the actual dogs. And if the dogs talked. I want to know more about Handshake and Shelley. I want to know what's going on between them. That's a missed storyline opportunity. Another weird thing about Shelley is that the characters in the movie go to great lengths to make fun of her size.
Is that your hamster? She's my dog.
She's about as big as your chance of winning.
What kind of raccoon is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, we don't allow cats in this competition.
But the thing is, Shelley is not small. She's like the same size as all the other dogs in the movie. I feel like they intended to cast a smaller dog. But even if she was small, what, are the other wiener dog racers just walking around size shaming each other? They're all short and long. That's the point of the breed. Also, Shelley's injury. I'm not sure if you noticed, but during the race, Shelley injures her front paw. But when we get a shot of her patched up, they bandage her back leg. Did no one on set notice this? Someone had to have noticed that, right? I am certain that there was a moment during production when costuming brought the dog out with the bandage on the wrong leg, and the director looked at it and was like, whatever, fine, let's just shoot it. I know that happened. I know it. Either that, or, and this was something I also wondered, I feel like they were gonna do something more with the lightning-shaped birthmark. I feel like at one point in the script there was a plot line where the cast covered that birthmark up, but then Shelley was gonna take the cast off, and then like, there's a huge reveal that she's actually the descendant of the fastest dog in history, but I don't know, edited it out while they were writing the script, and this is just what's left over.
But that's just a theory.
Something else that I think got cut, when the kids are registering Shelley for her very first race, all the adults in line are rather bizarrely dressed. One guy is dressed up like a luchador, the other is like a weird classic police officer, and then at regionals there's this like weird clown, and the dogs all have matching costumes too. What is this? Are these their racing gimmicks? The race that they are signing up for in this scene was the next day. So do these people like wear these costumes normally? Maybe they aren't costumes? So many questions left unanswered. It's also weird that none of those people are actually in any of the races. I feel like they were like gonna do something with this, but then they just like, I don't know, forgot or changed their plans. The actual races are also way too short. I was stunned that they didn't do more like slow motion or shoot from low cinematic angles to give them a more epic feel. It's literally just this.
Let the races begin!
Kinda underwhelming for a movie about dog races. This is the best shot in the movie, this is the worst. I found out on IMDb that the guy who plays the Wiener Schnitzel mascot was also a stuntman on the original Power Rangers. Sweet. Also, my wife hates hearing me say Wiener Schnitzel. Hey Rach.
Wiener Schnitzel.
I love watching these kinds of movies and picking out where they tried to save money. Like there's one microphone prop that keeps popping up in every scene they need a microphone. Why pay for many prop when one do trick? Joking aside, I actually do. I like seeing how they made the most of a small production. They spliced in actual footage of the National Wiener Dog Race to make the finale more visually exciting. You can generally tell when they did this because there are large crowd shots and then it'll cut to a shot with the actual movie actors and There is nobody in the stands. Kids don't notice these production details though, so who cares? Really, that's sort of the spirit that you have to have with these kinds of things. It's not trying to be epic cinema. It's just trying to be a movie. And for better or worse, mission accomplished. Wonder how much they spent on this. $1 million? Where did the money go? Craft services must have been incredible. This video was sponsored by Squarespace. If you've got a talent, skill, business idea, or story you'd like to share with the world, the best way to do it is with your own personalized website. Squarespace gives you everything you need to get started. Choose from one of their stunning, customizable templates and then shape it to your specific needs. Say you want to start a podcast. Their Audio Blocks feature can help you set one up in no time. If you want to have a place for an online community, try member areas. And if you have goods or services to sell, they offer easy-to-use online storefronts. You can get started today by going to squarespace.com and beginning a free trial. Give it a shot. If you like the experience, then when you're ready to launch your site, head over to squarespace.com/AustinMcConnell and save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain.